going to be chatting about a very rare condition in pregnancy, which causes extreme sickness. Now, you might be thinking about morning sickness, but that is totally not related to what we're talking about today. We're talking about a condition called Hyperemesis Gravidarum. It's nothing like morning sickness because it's extreme and severe. Women can't keep any food or drink down at all. And it can cause severe dehydration, and women can get hospitalized as a result and will need IV fluids and things like that. So it's very, very rare to get it. 1% of women will get it in their pregnancy. I think the most famous case out there that we kind of know of is of Kate Middleton. But yeah, this is just about a very different, extreme kind of sickness in pregnancy. So we are joined here by the lovely Nadia Begh today. She's going to chat to us about her experience with this awful condition. So Nadia, we'll just get straight into it. So can you tell us, what is Hyperemesis Gravidarum and what causes it?
Hi, Ayisha. Yeah, so you actually said it properly. I still struggle with actually calling it Hyperemesis Gravidarum. I've called it all sorts of things over the years, HG for short, and it can also be known as nausea and vomiting in pregnancy, or NVP. It's basically a pregnancy complication experienced, like you said, by 1% of women. It's an extreme form of sickness experienced by women from very early stages of the pregnancy. For me, it was from about 6 weeks onwards that I started feeling that things were not normal. Yeah. So it's from your last kind of menstrual period, it's 4 weeks, and then it was 2 weeks after that I felt that something, I could smell smells that I didn't want to smell, and it was making me feel very, very poorly. So for a lot of women, it can start as early as 6 weeks, and it can go on until 20 weeks. For some women, it can stop at 12 weeks. And in extreme cases, it can go on right up until the birth.
The whole pregnancy, my gosh.
The whole pregnancy, yes.
Wow, no, it just sounds so awful. I can't even imagine how that must have been.
I think until you've actually been through it, you don't realize how debilitating it can be. I've talked to other women about it, and I remember being a bit sick, and I remember retching when I brushed my teeth, and I was going, that's just not it. That's not. And whoever called it morning sickness got it so wrong. In my case, it was all day, all night sickness. And it's gradual. It started off, we were on holiday actually in New York, and on every street corner there's like a hot dog vendors, the hot dog stands, and I could smell them from a mile off. And it was the frying of the onions and the garlic and the hot dog, and I was just like, ooh, and I could just feel it. And we just didn't enjoy that holiday at all. It was our last holiday before our first baby, and I just remember these smells just overcoming me and taking over, and I could just, the nausea. And I have suffered from travel sickness. I do suffer from migraines as well. So I've had sickness before, so I know, but this was something very, very different. And somehow we got back to the UK. I was very ill on the flight. I was very ill at the airport, and just got back home, and I didn't leave the house for about 6 weeks after that because it was so debilitating. Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time. And that shows how big of a difference that is between morning sickness and pregnancy.
Yeah. So for some women, like I said, it might not be, they might not feel anything, or they could retch a little bit, or it can be ongoing nausea, or it's nausea and the full on active vomiting. And it's, the difference is, I guess they say it's the number of times that you're vomiting. So for some women, it's 20, 30, 40, 50 times a day that you are actually vomiting.
Oh my gosh. And what was it like for you then? Talk us through your kind of experience of a normal day in pregnancy for you.
So I was bedbound, housebound, bedbound. Nobody was allowed to come in my house because they would have smells on their body. My husband wasn't allowed to cook in the house to feed himself. And in the second pregnancy, it was, from my daughter. So they would go and eat at my mother-in-law's house. But before he would enter the house, he would have to have a full shower, and he'd have to wear different clothes because I could smell the food cooking smells, or the stale food smell on his body. And that would just send me off into another episode of violent vomiting. And that I was just, I mean, there was one point I was living in the bathroom. I basically would rest my head on the toilet seat, and then I had a line here from the indentation of just rounds and rounds and rounds of vomiting. And actually vomiting for me gave me a sense of a little bit of relief from the nausea, if you know what I mean. It would give me 20 to 30 seconds of relief. But the problem is that if you've got nothing inside of you to vomit, then it can get really, you start feeling very tired, you have very low energy levels, your blood pressure can drop, you are not hydrated properly, you're trying to consume food and water just to keep your energy levels up, but you can't, because even like white bread, pasta, salt and vinegar crisp, whatever people bring you, you just like, don't bring it, it's horrible.
The one, isn't it, that everyone says ginger biscuits and stuff.
Ginger biscuits. If I heard ginger biscuits one more time, I'll punch you.
Oh my God.
And do you know what? For some women, it might work. You know, it didn't in my case. I remember my husband, he's so lovely. He used to bring me chipsticks. You know, people would tell him, you know, you should try this and give her this and this, that, and the other. And I remember the one time, this is how inexperienced we were. This is in the first pregnancy. He had cut so affectionately, he had cut some apples up for me, which is a nice idea. It's cool and it's fresh. And I listened to him because I'm hungry. I want to eat. I need the energy. And I remember the episode of vomiting after that. It was like I was vomiting razor blades. Oh. So, you know, it was so horrible on the body to bring up that apple, the little bit of apple that I did manage. So just little things like that. I mean, it was just awful. I mean, your hygiene just, I mean, self-care is not happening at all. Brushing your teeth. Yeah, you're bedbound, and having a shower, changing clothes. You sweat quite a lot because of it's like a workout. You know, when you're having these vomiting convulsions in your tummy, it's a workout. So you're sweating, and you're hot, and you can't breathe because you're in between vomiting episodes. It's just horrible. Basically, it's not very nice. And I just got on with it. I just thought that's what women did. You just get on with it. I never really heard of anybody in my family that had experienced it. And if they had experienced it, they didn't talk about it. And obviously, I'm obviously migrant family. So, you know, talking to my aunts and my from both sides, just didn't even think to ask, you know, what was their experience. My grandmother had passed. I couldn't even ask her what her experience was. It's not really something you talk about. And a lot of women, when they're, especially in the early days of the pregnancy or throughout the pregnancy, they kind of go a bit underground, don't they? They don't really talk about things. So I had zero awareness of it. Yeah. And I think my mum was just like, yeah, I didn't experience it. So I just assumed that I wouldn't experience it either. How wrong was I? I was very, very wrong.
That's why we're doing this right now, because actually there's probably a lot of women out there who don't know what's happening, who, you know, at the end of the day, it's not normal. It's something that you do need to seek medical advice on.
Is not normal. And this is the thing, you know, it's taken me 11 years to talk about this and the trauma that it's left me with, but I didn't ask for help. I didn't know that there was help available for women like me. My GP was wonderful in the sense that I could call her up and explain to her that I've got this really bad vomiting from pregnancy. She was really lovely. And I said, look, I can't go into work. And she gave me a medical note, which was really helpful, really useful. But the issue was that she didn't say to me, look, Nadia, if you can't get through this and it gets to a point where you think you can't handle it, then there is a number that you can call. And we will we will have you in and we will monitor you and we will give you that was what I didn't have. I didn't have that awareness at all. and that information. And I just don't want any woman to go through that.
Yes, yeah.
The not knowing that there is help out there. I think that's what it is.
Go to.
If you've been affected by any of the issues that we've discussed, there is help out there. There are resources and some websites that we've got linked down in the description box below. Thank you.